conciencia e di pitatudine. Reviste temporaneamente un corpo, proprio come una persona indossa un vestito e poi, quando diventa logoro e inutile, lo deve cambiare. Can I say something? I'm just thinking about the last signboard. It's very practical what Krishna says. Under the picture, there's the verses, starts with Jayato Vishayam Pumsam Sangasteshu Vijayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Kama Krodho Bila. Said that if someone contemplates the senses, then there's a connection. They become combined. Sangha Sanjayate. There's a sangha. Like Sa-anga. The hand is an anga of my arm, and the arm is an anga of my body. And the world becomes my anga when I look at it with the idea that I can control it or enjoy it. So dhyayato is a kind of, it's called contemplation. It's a certain kind of it's a context of you're looking at the world and you think that you could stay here or enjoy it. And then because of that, it becomes part of you. Just like there's lots of cars in Vienna, but one of them is your car. And you care if it gets hit. Right now, lots of cars are getting hit in Vienna, but we don't care. Vienna, I mean, where are we? Venice. Lots of cars in Venice, but we don't care if they get hit or not, because they're not my car. And same thing, there's lots of bodies. But whatever happens to them, if you read in the newspaper that somebody died, it's not a big deal. But if you read and it turns out it was your uncle, then you'll fall off your chair. It's like, oh, my uncle, my dear uncle. Because there was a sense of this my. And dhyayato is a kind of way of looking at the world and meditating on it as, this is mine, that's somebody else's. And then you make a connection to it. So you constantly, it becomes a problem for us as souls. And Kapila Dev says that when the child's in the womb, there's a liminal space where the soul there sees that I'm not my body. And then worries that as soon as they come out, I'm going to get captured again by the material nature. And the reason is that the senses and the sense objects are connected automatically. The sense objects are embedded in the mind. So you don't have to try, you just come out and then automatically, like you look at babies, they know what the sense objects are intuitively. You don't have to teach them or give them a manual. They immediately are connected to them. And everyone's like that. So there has to be a process of understanding our relationship with the material nature. And the relationship is that it's Krishna's nature, it's not mine. And it's meant to be used in service. So in the Ishopanishad it says, Kurvani vihe karmani jajivishekshatam samaha evam tvainanyate tostina karma lipitenane. If you look at the world as Krishna's instead of mine, then Kurvani vihe karmani jajivishekshatam samaha. Then you don't get entangled by it. And he says, the Upanishads, Upanishad says, then you can live in the world for hundreds of years and you'll never be affected by it. Otherwise, you're constantly being drawn in. Asurya namate loka, you get drawn down. Andena tamasavita tamste pratya vikshanti ekichatman anojanaha. And your soul gets covered so much that the Vedas say you're lost. That's it. You're gone. You don't even know who you are. And you're just in this forest of material enjoyment. Senses drag you down into the lowest position if you don't know how to manage them properly. So the first verse in the Upadeshamrita, the essence of all advice that Rupa Goswami is giving us, the nectar of advice, first thing he says is control your tongue. And then your other senses control them also. And the best way is to engage them in Krishna service. Any comments?
Related to that, I listened to a class from Urmila Mataji, and she said that it was interesting, and this stick to my mind, that anything that we are so identified with our like identity, that all action that we are performing in our daily life is like is connected to this identification, but actually usually we don't even feel like I'm identified. I'm Italian housewife, so I act in this way, but this is just an identification, and is not just. So we keep going just with this identification, but we don't go deeper. So this was very interesting to me, because I was like, so all things that I'm doing, what that is just the result of this identification. So it's not something genuine that is coming from my soul.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share.
This is Prabhupada said, there's a letter I have on my wall that Prabhupada wrote, and he said that the material world is like an insane asylum. When you go to an insane asylum, or even I've been in a Alzheimer's ward before, people have these identities that they're not inside the ward. But in Prabhupada's letter, he said in an insane asylum, one person is walking around and says, I am Napoleon. And another one will say, I'm the Queen of England. And they're none of these things, but they're acting it out, and they think that's what we are. And he said, so everybody in the material world is mad because they don't know their identity as the Atma in relationship to Krishna. So the whole premise of our life, because it's not based on reality, becomes non-productive. Just working hard for an illusory conception of myself. Any other thing? Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
I think there is another difficult, no, in the material world. The difficult is what I desire to other people identificate me. Sometimes I decide that the people think of me, I like this color, I like this clothes, I am, I have this job, I like this music. This is very difficult because who I am for the world. And sometimes I live not for me. I live to show my masks. This is a big difficulty, mainly in this historical period, in this society, no? And sometimes my focus is on the what the society decides for me. And maybe the society choose for me which clothes, which color, my look, my hairs. And this is really difficult because also in the spirituality. for example, in this moment, the impersonalism is fashion. The atheism is fashion. Oh, I don't believe in God. I'm independent. It's fashion. No?
It's what?
It's
Fashion.
Oh, fashion.
Fashion, no? The whips of TV, of social network, I don't believe in God. I'm atheist. It's fashion. And the impersonalism, I'm Buddhist. It's fashion. This is very, very big difficulty, my feeling.
So the idea of identity is real, because we do have an identity. The Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha verse in the Gita, Krishna says people become frustrated with the superficiality of personhood in the material world because we simply identify with the various roles that we play. For instance, I play a role as a child, then I play a role as an adolescent, and then an adult, then a middle age, then old age, and it's all in relationship with the body. Those things are obvious in Spiritual Realization 101. But then people come to a conclusion that because such identifications are illusory, temporary, therefore I should give up identification with the self. There is no self. And it'll become anatma, selfless. And then there'll be no desire. But that can't persist. I can't hold that conception. It's negative numbers on the number line is material world. And to get out of the negativity, I come to zero. But it can't stay at zero because the soul is active. It wants to grow like these trees. You put them in the ground, they're like, go towards the light. So the Krishna consciousness is a Tanama Rupa Charitari Sikirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanamana Yoja Tishtan Vraje Tananuragi Jananagami Kalam Nayed Akilamitu Padesha Saram. There's a way in which we gradually, coming out of the darkness of the identification with these material roles, we may have a conception of the self, or world, like we follow, oh, that's my mother, that's my father. We play roles in the spiritual world also. In the Raganuga Bhakti, is that we start to identify with the roles in the spiritual world, in Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And those become our aspiration. Tishtan Vrajetana, of a certain kind of service to Krishna. And that becomes our eternal role. So it's not left with a void or avoiding the material world, but it's engaging it all in Krishna service, and also our sense of self and personhood, which is undeniable. As soon as you deny it, then you've exhibited your will, which means life. You can't deny life, because as soon as you deny it, it's an act of consciousness. So you assert your real role. It becomes like these trees growing up. It comes naturally by the watering process that one becomes attracted, not just to an amorphous idea of the spiritual world, but to an individual role in the spiritual world following a particular associate of Krishna. And then that becomes our identity. Well, we have that identity, but we become attracted to it, and it becomes obvious and revived to a natural, by hearing we develop the natural attraction for that. And that's our eternal role that is full of ananda, spiritual world. So that's unique. So you don't find that much. The idea of salvation, people don't know what the forms are, what their relationship is with God. So sambandha gyan, or understanding that relationship, and the non-relationship with the material world, those things happen simultaneously, are necessary for us to reassume our eternal position. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Once in Vrindavan, on a morning walk with Prabhupada, There used to be no structures around the Krishna Balaram Mandir. It was 1975. The temple just opened. And Prabhupada go on morning walks. And we were going through a off-road area. One of the sannyasis, Yashodanandan, was walking with bare feet because he was very austere. And Prabhupada always had shoes on, even when he was walking in Braj. And Yashodananda, a few times he stepped on a sticker like that. And then Prabhupada stopped the whole morning walk and he said, "What is the difficulty?" And he said, "Oh, I'm stepping on sticker." "Where's your shoes?" He said, "I didn't wear the shoes." And Prabhupada said, "You should go back and get your shoes." And he said, "No, but to be with you, Prabhupada, I don't mind. It is all right." And Prabhupada said, "It is in no way all right. You should go get your shoes." Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. I mean, just sometimes devotees, they try to be more Catholic than the Pope. And Prabhupada had certain ways of, he had a certain mood. And it wasn't fanatical. We were fanatical a lot. And a lot of times we'd amplify certain things Prabhupada said and just take that as the all in all. We think that by being more and more austere physically, punishing our senses and so forth, that we become more advanced. It was in youthful energy like that. It's not sustainable. It can even make the heart hard. I'm not saying we should be austere to some degree, but we should observe how Prabhupada was. He was austere for the right reasons, but not just for the sake of it. Like when he went to Kumbha Melā too, he went there to preach. It wasn't like he was after some benediction from the Kumbh. You know the Kumbha Melā, right? You're supposed to bathe at the right time, get some benediction from Lakṣmī. Prabhupada didn't care about that. He wanted that we go there and distribute books and prasādam. So it wasn't that Prabhupada went here, there, and everywhere. His mission was always the same, and he was always aligned with the same principles that his spiritual master taught him. And if we stay aligned with the mood and mission of our Guru and the Guru Parampara very clearly, then we can navigate through life. The decisions we make are based on what's the main thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Verso means what? Huh?
Verse.
Oh, verse.
No, lower. Verso.
Toward liberation. The Vedic tradition of India.
It shows.
Huh?
Points indicate point.
This points. The Vedic tradition of India. Vedic tradition points. Che per ragim gere. Towards Raganuga Bhakti. No, what is it?
To achieve.
To achieve liberation. It's to do so, it's necessary avichanare, to approach a representative, an authentic representative of God. The spiritual master Vendo has realized, having realized, and in spiritual consciousness, Konasencha, yeah, has had spiritual knowledge. This is Konasencha, means knowledge. That's which Konasencha. Where does it come from?
Because it's Scienza.
Yeah.
Scienza is like science, and con is like Latin, no? So it's like to know something. So it's this
like
Latin.
to be cognizant of something.
Yeah.
Puo kundere the disciple.
Yes.
That's sicuro verso la verità. It points towards liberation. Necessary for those to achieve that, they have to approach the representative of God, spiritual master, who is has full spiritual knowledge, and the disciple, apostle, sicuro, huh?
Firm step,
Like
Firm.
that step.
that.
Now I can't even understand what you're saying.
This word you're pointing, it means step.
Step.
Yeah, like.
Okay, step. Also, sicuro. Verso means verse. Verita. What's the last line mean? The last
this means
clause.
that
This one here.
yeah, the spiritual disciple, no, the spiritual master who has realized spiritual knowledge can bring disciple with a firm step towards truth.
I see. He's bringing the disciple from step verita.
It's like sure that the disciple with spiritual master can go through.
What's verita?
Truth.
Through. Why is it Oh, truth. Truth is capitalized because it means the supreme truth.
Yeah, the supreme truth.
I see. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Verify. Verita, I understand. It's the truth, but the root is ver, like in verify. You verify something, you're able to understand it. You clarify what it is, right? That's mean truth. Let's see, verify, verita.
Yeah, I think the root
The
of
root is ver.
Is ver.
Or veri.
Yes, veritas mean Latin veritas meaning truth from verus, true.
Verus. V-E-R-O-S.
Yes.
Yes.
Verus.
Proto-Indo-European vero meaning true, trustworthy.
Meaning what? True.
Trustworthy.
True and trustworthy. Vero. Good name for a kid, Vero.
Yes.
Come here, Vero. Yeah,
Actually, there's Veronica in
Italian.
Italian.
Veronica.
And
Vera. It's all from this truth.
Yes.
Is that it?
Yes. It's just that the root is not there, but it's similar. It's like
Just like Old English. You just have the weird spelling, but it's pronounced similarly. Okay. That's good to know.
Thank you.
Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Come si dice in Italiano? I know it's Spanish, sorry. But, I offer to Krishna. Offerto Krishna. And how do you say respect, honor, obeisance? I offer respect.
offrire rispettosi omaggi.
Offrire.
Offrire
Respectio.
rispettosi
Rispettose. Maestro spirituale. To. To is and? What's and? E. Verito. Krishna verito. Verita. Krishna verita. Maestro spirituale e verita. Hare Krishna. Affuere. To offer.
Offrire.
Frida.
Io offro o
Afro.
okay.
Afro.
It's like I offer. Is io offro.
I afro. Respectamente.
I miei rispettosi
Respectase.
omaggi.
Hare Krishna. Respectate. Krishna Krishna, Maestro spirituale. E verita. Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare. This Latin is to Italian as Sanskrit is to Bengali. If you know Sanskrit and you listen to Bengali, you go like, oh, I can understand this. And if you know Latin, and most of English is Latin, then you can kind of understand Italian. You kind of understand what's going on, 35%. Kind of interesting, the connections between the different languages. Hare Krishna. Hindi's totally different though. Not totally, but a lot. Mahatsevam dwaram ahurava tamo dwaram yoshitam sangi sangam. The dwaram. It's a big deal because when you go through a dwaram, it changes from one realm to the other. And if you get association with Mahatmas, then you can switch go through the gate into the spiritual world. But if you associate with low-minded people, then you go through a gate and you fall into hell. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, last one. 10-second realization. 10-second realization. 10-second realization. Let's go.
ISKCON is the best gift in this world.
Prabhupada's family ki jai.
Spiritual world is just here. We just have to open our eyes and see it. For spiritual advancement, you have to learn to control your tongue first.
Yes, from the Updeshamrita, that the realization just you said, like the essence of all the instructions, starting from the tongue and all the other senses.
So he can hold it. So try to your best to always follow the saints, the acharyas, and use their association as much as possible with the best attention we can.
I was thinking about how many species of life there are because I've seen so many different kinds of bugs and birds and everything, and how much variety there is. And plus the plants too, little tiny flowers, big ones, everything. And Krishna's creation is so varied. It's very opulent. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. It's been a real pleasure. Hare Krishna.